Hey, it's Cobra here at MaddenGuides.com, and for this Madden 22 defensive plays video breakdown, I want to take a look at the 46 bear under LB dogs. This particular defense I'm about to show, we're going to show you 3 blitz setups that's going to allow you to get pressure from various defenders, and it's a pretty nice defense. Of course, it's a cover zero defense, which can be, obviously, it can be high risk, high reward. So let's go ahead and take a look at the play diagram and play info for this particular play. As I've already mentioned, this is from the 46 bear under. The name of the defense is called LB Dogs. You've got 4 defensive linemen, 3 linebackers, 4 defensive backs. The coverage type is man. Coverage shell is cover zero. The blitz type is a man blitz. The gap pressure really honestly can come from the B or C gap. I guess I should have put that there. The pass rushers, you've got 6 by default, and you've got 5 pass defenders, again, by default. And what I mean by that is we're going to change some things up throughout the video where we actually have another 1 or 2 defenders dropping back into pass coverage as well, which is going to help you as far as giving some different looks with this particular defense. So let's go ahead and get right on into it and take a look at it, and we'll show you what we're going to do as far as with the setups. So let's go ahead and get into it. As I mentioned already, this is going to be from the 46 bear under. You can find this in several different playbooks. I'm going to use the Cowboys. Happens to be one of my favorite NFL teams. It's been my favorite team for a long, long time. And I'm actually glad to see that they're doing well this year. So this is kind of a tribute to them as far as the success they've had on defense so far this year. So again, the 46 bear under, the defense, we're calling it from the formation, LB Dogs. You can see on your screen. We're going to go ahead and run this from the gun formation as far as on the offensive side of the ball. We're going to run it from the gun bunch, halfback strong. I'm going to start off with the wide trail. Keep this in mind. I'm actually going to also show this with the halfback staying in the pass block as well, so you can see that it works regardless either way. So let's just go ahead and get onto the field here and take a look at it. Not going to get too much about the coverages. As I mentioned already before, you've got 5 defenders in man coverage. And the other downside of this particular defense, as you look at it, you're going to see that it is a cover zero defense. There's just no coverage deep. So when you run this, you better darn well be prepared. On occasion, you may get beat deep. And if they beat the, a lot of players out there, honestly, they've got bump and run man beaters, man press beaters, if you will, that will annihilate this type of coverage. So if you're going to run this, just know that. And that's why you're going to have to do some things that I'm about to show here to try to mix some things in to try to throw your opponent off a little bit. All right, so with that said, let's go ahead and get going with the first setup here. The first one is rather easy. Really, all you got to do is go ahead and shift the defensive line to the left. Now, for me, depending on what formation they're into, the defender that I look to take control of is going to be the defender that happens to be covering the running back. In this case here, the defender that I'm going to control of is this linebacker right here. He's the one that's covering the running back, assuming that they're in a, where they have running back staying in the backfield. Now, if he's not staying in the backfield, then you really can't do what I'm about to show here because there's a good chance that they could, throw a quick pass. But at any rate, if the running back staying in the backfield, regardless he's running a route or he's staying in the pass block, always take control of the defender that's covering him. Now, one of the things you do want to do is you don't want to get too close to the line of scrimmage here. So usually about 2 yards off the line of scrimmage should work, 2 or 3 yards. In this case, I'm about 3 yards. That should do it. And what's going to happen here is we're going to get pressure coming off the edge from this linebacker right here. And then the defensive lineman, which is going to be Lawrence, who's over here, he's going to come off this edge over here. Now, I don't know if you noticed this or not. When I shifted the linebackers, or excuse me, when I shifted the defensive line, then Lawrence actually went into a 3-point stance right there is what you see on the screen. So just keep that in mind when you do that. He's going to go into it rather than standing up. All right, so as I said before, the pressure is going to come off from the edges. Let's go ahead and look at it, and we'll see what happens. And right there, we actually only get one guy in there, but we still get the coverage on the outside. I should release him. Let's do it one more time. Generally, that coverage, that pass rush is going to come off from both sides. Let's do the same setup again here. And then this time we get it coming from both sides. So just be careful when you bring him up. You got to get him close enough, but you also don't want this guy to get interfered with with some of the other linemen and get caught up where he can't run with the running back coming out of the backfield. That's the main thing you got to watch for. So just be careful with that. As long as you do it like this, you should get the pressure on the quarterback. As you just saw right there, you got the edge pressure from both of the the defensive lineman and then the linebacker coming off from the left side of the screen. So again, let's go in here, and as you can see, the pressure's coming off from both of the defenders that I talked about that would get the pressure right there. And you can see right there we got some pressure coming. As I said earlier, there's some right now, if your opponent was to look, in all honesty, he could probably throw it right over in that area there and complete it on that route right over there and hit it over there. But at any rate, just know when you run this, that's the kind of risk that you take. One of the other things you might want to go ahead and call is go ahead and call press coverage, which I didn't do. So you might want to go ahead and call press coverage with this defense. So again, I'm going to go ahead and bring him up. And then just going out there and getting the double, getting the pressure on the quarterback, getting double-edged pressure with that. All right, let's go ahead and lead the running back in the pass block this time. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. There's the running back you can see on your screen. Let's go ahead and zoom in on him. You can see clearly that I've got him staying in the pass block. So what we're going to do, go ahead and shift that line to the left. Go ahead and call press coverage. Go ahead and bring this guy up. Now, obviously, it's kind of hard to always tell if the running back's going out or not, but try to watch, and if he takes a step up, then a lot of times that probably means he's going to go ahead and pass block. Now, of course, he could be running a route up the gut, like maybe a hook route or something like that, but that's the risk you also take. So I'm going to go ahead and just rush him, but because obviously I know that this guy's coming off there. That's him actually got blocked. But a lot of times if you go ahead and rush him, and when you do that, you should get the edge pressure coming off the edge still, at least one guy. You're not going to get both these guys in. You're only going to get one, but that's all you need. And let's go ahead and do the same thing again. Then right there, I still get the pressure. So if that running back, once that running back steps up and blocks me, then I know I've got the other guy coming in. And let's go look at that from the instant replay. And a lot of times your opponent sees this guy coming in pretty hard like this. If your opponent sees this guy coming in right here, then he may just try to throw it real quick because he's worried about getting sacked. But as you can see, the running back does block me, but the pressure's still coming off the edge here, where I still get that pressure coming off the edge here from this defensive lineman right here. He's still going to get in there, and the pressure is pretty quick. But as I said before, if he can find an open receiver and he can get rid of it quick enough, he can beat this. But that's the downside of running this. All right, let's go on to the next setup. This next setup, you're going to get some B-gap pressure. And this B-gap pressure, when I show you how to do this, is pretty easy. Another easy setup. It's actually going to come from this guy right here, which is going to be the linebacker right there, the one I'm pointing out. I believe that's the middle linebacker. So what you're going to do, actually, it's I believe it's the left outside linebacker. So, but at any rate, that's what you're going to do with this setup. So what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and, let's go ahead and reset this real quick here. What you want to go ahead and do is go ahead and pinch the defense. So I'm pinching the defense right there. And then what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and put these guys in QB contain. Now, the reason you're putting these guys in QB contain is because you want to get an outside rush. And there's one other thing you need to go ahead and do, and I'll show it to you here. This setup's a little bit more, but now go ahead and put them in QB. I'm going to reset this up again because I want to explain how this works. Let's go ahead and just run it, and I'll reset it up one more time, what I'm trying to show you here. But there's the B-gap pressure. So what you're going to do here is, with this setup, we'll go through a little bit slower for you guys. You're going to go ahead and shift defense, go ahead and pinch the defense. And then that's going to put this linebacker back into this area here. All right. The next thing you need to go ahead and do is you need to go ahead and crash the defensive line down. So go ahead and crash the defensive line down as far as with their angles. If we go ahead and zoom in here, let's go ahead and zoom in. You can see now that these guys are crashing to the inside as you look at it. You got this guy going to the inside here. And if you look at it, you got this guy going to the inside here. You got this guy going inside. You got this guy going inside. So they're all going inside. And then finally, the other thing you want to do is you want to go ahead and call QB contain. Now, the reason we're calling QB contain, because we got all these guys crashing to the inside here as you look at it. Remember, I just talked about these. All these guys are crashing to the inside. Well, then you got these guys going to the outside. And that's going to create a gap where the linebacker can now blitz and then come after the quarterback into that area there. So that's the idea of that. That's the reason you're crashing in, and then you're putting those guys in QB contain so you can get that pressure coming from that linebacker. At this point, you can take control of anybody you really want. I'm just going to go ahead and control this guy right here to run its cover, the running back, and then you should get that B-gap pressure. So that's the idea of that one. You end up getting some B-gap pressure. I'm going to go into instant replay again real quick on this just so you can see it. But that's the idea of this. You're trying to create a nice big gap. And this doesn't always work that way, but you're trying to create a gap where this linebacker can get through cleanly and then come after the quarterback. Now, I'll tell you, if the running back stays in the pass block, this probably isn't going to work. However, let's go back and do this again. So let's go ahead and set this up. So we're going to go ahead and pinch the defensive line or pinch the defense. Then we're going to go ahead and crash the defensive line down, which is what you're seeing slanting in. And then we're going to go ahead and go QB contain. Now, remember I talked about taking control of this guy right here. Now, say the running back stays in the pass block. So we're going to go ahead. Remember, let's go make sure he's staying in the pass block. So he's staying in the pass block, right? So you've got to rush that guy still. And if you do that, you're still going to get the B-gap pressure coming from that linebacker, regardless if the running back stays in the pass block. Now, of course, if the running back goes out and you kind of goof it up and you end up rushing, and he's going to leave the running back wide open, which is not good. So you got to watch for that. It's kind of, again, the high risk, high reward of this particular defense. All right, let's continue on with the final setup. This one, I had somebody mention on the comments, I've been showing out of the quarter normal how to get pressure from the right end where you can take control of them by hot routing them into a hard flat and working around. Well, this is one of those defenses where this is where you can do this with, where it works with. So at least the defensive formation. And with this particular play, we're going to go ahead and do this. Now I'm going to go ahead and show you the setup here. It's pretty simple. So what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and put this guy right here. You want to put him in a vertical hook. I'm going to go ahead and put him in a vertical hook, or you can put him in a curl flat. All right. The same way with this guy over here. If you want either one of these two defenders right here, you can put in any kind of coverage you want. I'm going to go ahead and take control of the linebacker here, and I'm going to go ahead and put him in a curl flat as well. So I've got two defenders now in a curl flat, and then the final thing that you want to do is you want to go ahead and take control of this guy, which is the one that I'm in control of right now, which is going to be the right end. Now, Gregory's not the fastest defensive lineman that I have on my team, but I'm going to go ahead and leave him there. Now, just imagine if you got a faster defensive lineman, you can sub him in there, or a linebacker, and sub him in there and even get quicker to the quarterback. So there's the setup right there. So you're going to go ahead and put those two outside defenders, at least put two defenders either in curl flats. You can put them in verticals. You can put them in hard flats, whatever you want. That's up to you. I'm just going to go ahead and put them in curl flats. So let's go ahead and run this now, and we'll just run this around. I'll show you how it works here. And I probably got caught up right there. Let's go ahead and run this again here. I actually got caught up. Most of the time I can get through there pretty good, but on that time I actually got caught up. Let's go ahead and run it again. Same thing. That's the downside with Gregory. He's not quite the fastest guy as far as getting to the quarterback. I just didn't want to make a sub there, but I'm going to go ahead and run this again. Same setup here. Oops. And if you notice something else, if you were to go back and look at that video I talked about, you'll notice that Gregory's kind of lined up in between the left guard and the left tackle. So that's why it still works pretty much the same way as I showed earlier. And then this time we're going to get around them this time. And then we go right after the quarterback. So that works pretty much the same way. The nice thing about this one is, even if they leave the running back in the pass block, I got them staying in the pass block. And we're going to go ahead and do the same setup I just showed. So we got those guys dropping back. I'm going to go put this guy back into a curl flat and this guy into the flat. And remember, this time the running back staying in the pass block. It's the same idea that I just showed. I still got to him. So at any rate, that's another setup you can work and make this work. And it's very similar to what I was showing earlier in the quarter normal, where you can get pressure with the right end. This is another one of those formations you can do that with. There's a couple other ones in the game that you can do this with. Matter of fact, there's some things you can do with the left end, and I'll show that in another video breakdown that you can get some pressure. But just keep in mind, this one works with this particular defense formation that you can do this, what I'm just showing you. So let's go through the setups one more time just real quick, and I'll just kind of walk you through everything. So the very first setup that I did was all I did was shift the defensive line. I called press coverage. I'm going to bring this guy somewhere up around 2 to 3 yards off the line of scrimmage. And then the pressure is going to come from one of those two outside linebackers, usually from this guy, which is going to be the outside linebacker to your left, and then the defensive end to your right. And then all you're going to do is just go ahead and do that. That's all you got to do on that one as far as getting pressure on the quarterback. The second setup I showed, another simple one, is you're going to go ahead and shift the defense, pinch it. That's going to put this linebacker right here, the one I'm in control of right now. He's going to be right in that position there. And then you're going to go ahead and crash the defensive line down, which is what I'm doing right there. You'll see that they're crashed down. And then you're going to go ahead and go QB contain. And there's your setup in there. And then again, you want to take control of this guy here just in case the running back stays in the pass block. You're watching to see what he does. If the running back stays in the pass block, you rush him. If the running back goes out, such as there, you can go ahead and release him, and you should get pressure coming from that linebacker there. So you got to kind of watch that running back and decide what he does. Finally, the final setup that I showed was one that I've showed kind of briefly in the quarter normal. I've been showing a series on that. You're going to go ahead and let's go ahead and this time, let's put this guy in a vertical hook. I just want to show you can do this with a vertical hook. And then we'll also put this guy in a vertical hook as well. So I got those two guys this time rather than curl flats. I got them in vertical hooks. This guy I'm going to go ahead and put into a hard flat. That's the one I'm in control of. And then all I'm going to do is just snap the ball. And then I'm going to go right around him and I'm going to get pressure on the quarterback. So those are three setups that you can run from the LB Dogs out of the 46 Bear Under that's going to allow you to get some pressure on the quarterback pretty consistently. And it should give you some different variations that you can try to make your opponent think about what he's doing and kind of give him some looks. Now, obviously, you're going to want to match that up or mix and match this with some different coverages. But just keep in mind, this is a defense you can definitely bring some pressure on the quarterback. It's just a matter of if you don't mind that high risk, high reward when you run it.